welcome back to the channel again. Today I was actually gonna go to the BELIZE bird rescue. I see signs for it on the way up to the place I'm staying in Belmopan, and I thought, that would be a cool little place to go. So I drove out there this morning, and turns out they are closed to the public. So they put all those signs up, no idea why. So right now I'm driving up this gorgeous canyon, just kind of driving around looking, not real sure what I'm gonna find. Saw some signs that said something about 1,000-foot falls. That sounded pretty cool, possibly an archaeological dig. So just kind of cruising up this, go see what's at the end of the road. So the sign said 7 miles. I've gone about 2. Hopefully we'll find something to do today. Again, I kind of just came down here to just hang out and see BELIZE. No real plan, just was gonna go see what I stumbled across and go check it out if it sounded interesting. No real like travel pressure to go hit certain things in certain days and fulfill an itinerary. I didn't want to get off vacation and need a vacation from my vacation, so just really kind of relaxing. And this is kind of working. I mean, it's just, like I said, a really pretty place. Has been a great trip. It's only day 2, really, the second full day in BELIZE, but I am not complaining at all. I did see what was kind of interesting just a couple miles back there, just as I was driving down the highway. 2 signs, real big billboard type signs on the side of the road in Chinese. And on the bottom in English in smaller letters, it said on the one side, Chinese Technical Mission, and on the other side it said Technical Mission of Taiwan. So I thought the two of them didn't like each other, but apparently they both came here and built what appear to be trade schools across the highway from each other in BELIZE. So not real sure, that seems weird, but whatever. So I just saw another sign for the archaeological ruins that I'm looking for, and I'm preparing myself to be disappointed. We have this nice little jungle crawl here, and I've been seeing a bunch of signs for zip line and cave tours and stuff like that, and some signs that says it's for sale. So I feel like somebody privatized this to try and turn into a tourist destination with the kind of attractions that detract from the archaeological presence. So hopefully that's not the case, but like I said, preparing myself to be disappointed. It'd be like 4 Mayan rocks and a whole zip line thing, and a guy being, oh yeah, $50 you can see the Mayan rocks from the sky. Whatever. We'll see how it goes. The road's in terrible shape, so I don't see them bringing tour buses up here from the cruise ships or anything like that, so that's maybe a good thing. This says, welcome to Barton Creek Archaeological Reserve boundary. So I don't know Hours restaurant open. Tour guides on site. It doesn't look private, but at the same time, it kind of does. I'm not real sure. Not even real sure if I'm going the right way. There was three paths to take. I just went straight. It's kind of the one that had the sign on it. There's a van pulling out over on my right, so apparently there's something else back here. But again, no idea. And this says Mike's Place. Yeah, not real sure. Well, unfortunately, I was correct. The archaeological site is inside the privately owned area, inside a cave. And I thought, well, you know, there's nobody here. Maybe I can get kind of a private tour, essentially, because I'll be here by myself. But they want $65 US to do a cave tour. They put you on a canoe, you canoe down a river into the cave. And he's like, yeah, it's about 2 hours. And I was like, really, 65 bucks for 2 hours? Yeah, so no. So, I mean, it was a great drive in here. So we'll drive back out. Now, when I came in, I didn't drive over the bridge that you see on the right because it doesn't really look that sturdy. So I drove through the river, but driving past the bridge, it looked a little more sturdy. I don't know. The river just seems safe, right? Like, the option's here, why not use it? I was gonna say it's not wet from the van exiting the river, so they probably drove over the bridge, but it's also not wet from me exiting the river, and I just exited it, 7 minutes ago, so. I don't know if that van that I saw leaving drove over this bridge or not, but again, it just seems like if I drive through the river, it won't collapse on me, whereas the bridge might, so I'm just gonna go around the bridge. Well, so that was a loss. I really wish they would be a little bit more honest with their whole "it's privately owned" part. Kind of makes me a little upset. And if it was reasonably priced, I would have done it, right? But 65 bucks? No. I'm sorry. So in yesterday's video, I had talked about wanting to go to Tikal, the ruins in Guatemala. It's a 3-hour and 20-minute drive from where I'm staying. I'm probably only 2 hours from it here, but I was kind of looking up the requirements for Guatemala, and it looks like they're still requiring COVID testing in order to come in. A friend of mine in Honduras had said that she didn't think that they required it for crossing the land borders, but I couldn't find anything official saying that that I could just cross the land border without doing it. And I don't really want to drive up to the land border and then be like, oh, you won't let me in, let's turn around and go back, because sometimes they're not that friendly. I know even in the US, if you approach a border with the intent to cross and then you don't qualify to cross for whatever reason, they can be real pains about it. So I don't really want to drive up to the Guatemalan border and then they're like, oh, you were trying to cross, but you were going to do it illegally, we're detaining you. So I'll keep looking. I'll do a little bit more looking later tonight to see, because again, if I can cross, if they will let me do a land border crossing without meeting the other requirements, then I'll probably go, because I do want to go see it. It's a really nice site, and again, I'm really, really close to it right now, so excuse me. So I'd like to see it. just I don't meet the requirements for crossing the border at this time. So fingers crossed, maybe that video will show up later on. Right now I'm working my way back out, back the way I came. I think we have to get back on the paved road and then go farther into the mountains to find the 1,000-foot waterfall. So that's where I'm going to try and go next. Once I get back out of here, this is going to be about 3 more miles of this, maybe 4 miles of this. And then I'll be back on paved road and start heading, I hope, towards the waterfalls that are, again, hopefully publicly accessible without paying a retorted fee. So, fingers crossed for that. And again, I do want to go to the zoo. Hopefully that'll come soon. If not, I'll go by myself. And probably Dangriga in a couple days and Sartnea in a couple days. Possibly Corozal. And while I'm in Corozal, Mexico's right there. I don't know if I'll cross the border into Chetumal or not. I'm told that from Corozal to Chetumal is about a 45-minute trip, and that includes the border crossing. So maybe. We'll see. Add another stamp to my passport. Alright, so here we've made it back to the pavement. So I think we're just going to take a left and go see if we can find a set of waterfalls. You know, like the song says, right? Don't go chasing waterfalls. Just stick to the rivers and streams that you're used to. Hopefully that's not a copyright infringement. Road on my way to, I hope, 1,000-foot falls. And I just passed a checkpoint. It was one of those raised crosswalks again, and it had stop signs on it. I thought it was just another police checkpoint. Had a permanent building built there next to it. And there's a sign there that says forestry check, right? Well, I pull up and I stop, but there's nobody there, so I just kind of start rolling through it. And then there's another sign that says I'm entering a military training area, and I need to observe all warnings and cautions posted on signs, and if I have any questions, I should talk to the British training unit. So, bon voyage. Yeah, I'm seeing roads that go off the edge of this road, and all of them have signs that say no trespassing, military training area. That's interesting. I knew that there was a military training area down by Dangriga, down on the bottom of Belize. There's like a barracks down there and everything, and at one point the U.S. military unit that's in Honduras that I worked at for a couple of months in 2019, they were talking about moving out of Honduras and moving into Belize down by Dangriga. And I was kind of watching that development because I was like, you know, I don't like working here, but if you guys move it to Belize, I could possibly change my mind. But so far as I know, they haven't moved it yet, and it's still sitting there in Honduras. And the reason they were trying to move it out was because they turned that airport into an international airport. And of course, international airports and military training flights don't exactly tolerate each other very well. So I could see why they were trying to move the base out. Plus, the president of Honduras was doing significantly illegal things. He's now in a U.S. prison for it. And so the U.S. was like, you know, hey, we can't be renting from Honduras if they're going to be supporting drug trafficking, so we need to move out. But as always, the morals and values don't ever reflect the paychecks, so they continued writing checks for the land lease to the Honduras government and stayed there. Never moved it to Belize. Really snuck this one up on me. I was just kind of flying along like, you know, hopefully I see this 1,000-foot waterfall soon. And over in the weeds on the side of the road, there's this little sign that says 1,000-foot waterfall with an arrow pointing. And I was like, oh, wow, good. Hit the brakes. Make a left. No warning or anything. Just kind of noticed it. And then there was a sign as soon as I got on this road that said no military trucks. So if it's in the middle of a military training area, the odds are it's not private, right? So maybe we'll actually have success with this one. This has been a good day. So this road I came down hasn't been in terrible shape. It's actually been alright. If I was driving like a rental car, you know, whatever, move on. But I'm not, so. And from where I'm standing, it doesn't look that bad, but they took the time to say, don't do it in two-wheel drive. Two-wheel drive's all I have, and again, not a rental car. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of just proceed with caution. Sorry, let me get the camera where it's in a better angle. I have it still on my windshield mount, so if I hold it straight, the camera's actually facing straight up. So I'm trying to hold this windshield mount in a way that gets the camera in the right spot. The unnatural feeling. Anyway, moving on. So I think I'm gonna give it a shot just to see, but I'm already a couple miles in. The road hasn't been getting any better by any means, and this sign either says 5 miles or 15 miles, was 10 miles, no miles, I'm not real sure. I think it currently says 5 miles down this road, and I don't know if the old girl will make it, especially again given that it's not a rental car and I do have to give it back to the lady I rented it from in operable condition. And if I did get stuck, can't call the Ghostbusters because they're not here, so who am I going to call? So we'll proceed with caution. If it starts to get a little bit hairy, we'll just turn around and come back. Yeah, so having said that, 1,000 feet fall, 1,000-foot falls, caution, use 4x4, 2.5 miles. And so again, initial looks like it's okay. Definitely narrower. Definitely a lot less tire tracks on it. My bigger concern actually is sharp rocks. I have pretty good clearance, but a sharp rock will ruin a day, put a hole in the tire real quick. So yeah, definitely the road they were warning you about ahead of time, I think, is going to be this portion of it right here. Well, I found the four-wheel drive spot. This is pretty cut up right here, and it's steep. I know cameras make everything look flat. I left the car up there on the hill to walk down because looking down this definitely did not look like I could drive down it. Certainly doesn't look like I can get back up it. And again, the camera makes it look flatter than it is. But so that sign where I turned onto this road said 2.5 miles. That was about 3/4 of a mile ago. Somebody drug right there pretty hard. Right here. It's not terribly hot. I'd say it's probably 76-ish, 75 in there degrees. I might just turn the car off and hike it because it's probably only going to be 2 miles from here. Don't know how long that'll take, and I'm fat and out of shape, so I don't know how excited I am about that. Just walking up this portion of the hill, I don't want to anymore, because that's just down, down, down as far as I can see. So now I'm lazy. Yeah. See, I just walked up from where I was down there and I've talked myself out of it. Well, sorry, folks. It's pretty. It is gorgeous up here. Well, next time, there's a place in Belize City that rents Hummer H3s. I might give them a call. Folks, thanks for joining me on that adventure. We've made it back to the place we're staying here. Nice little view of a cornfield there. Quiet and peaceful up here. The road, as you saw on the way in, is a little adventurous as well, but that's the way I like it. So, well, thanks again for joining me on this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.